So I just had the first appointment with a midwife today, where I got to hear the heartbeat of my little baby growing in my wife's belly, which was wonderful. Very exciting. But also opened, before it happened, when I realized we were going to be, I didn't know that we were going to be able to hear the heartbeat today. And once she told us that we'd be able to, it also opened me up to the possibility that I wouldn't get to hear the heartbeat because there wouldn't be one, which is very scary. But the heartbeat sounded great, very strong heartbeat. That's what it sounded like to me, and it made me very happy. It was very exciting, and I couldn't help but thinking later that it's just like, man, it would be crazy to just shmushmort this thing. Very unfortunate, very sad, very bad, and it made me think about how what's happening when someone's doing that. Because I mean, I'm not. Abortion is not like a main issue for me. Like, I'm not about to get out there with a sign, unless I was just trying to be really snarky. Excuse me. But what I do believe that it is, what is happening, is that the energy back in the day that made people sacrifice babies to Molech, if you will, versus people that get abortions today, it's the same thing. Just like, I guess, I saw a video recently, I think it was of a recent podcast or whatever, from the man Jordan Peterson talking about possession. And it's just like, if you are possessed by the god of rage, and then later on, you don't believe in other gods, you don't believe in the god of rage, but you need to go to anger management because you have an anger problem, is that not the same thing? What's the difference if you were possessed by the god of rage, or you were just out of control anger, bordering on rage? You experience rage and you become out of control. See, I just see red, bro. What's the difference? I think God and the energy surrounding them, they exist regardless what you think. I think a lot of one of the main issues, I think, with this type of thing is the shortcomings of language. It's like, what are we really talking about when you talk about God, when you talk about believing in God and faith? And these things are actually not as straightforward as one may think. If you really start digging into these meanings. Sorry, I'm tired. Because I think there are many, in modern society, we worship many gods. Gods of convenience, fame, things, materialism, equality. I don't know if it's a false god, false notion. Freedom. And some be like, oh, freedom isn't a false god. It's just like, yo, when I go out to eat downtown, I'm thinking about Long Beach, California in particular, and it's a Friday night. I'm going out to eat, going out to dinner with some friends, and I see all these families and people out there and walking around, and I just see one dude, some homeless crackhead, just, spazzing out, wandering around, jeans ripped all the way open. You can see his dick and balls just hanging out for everyone to see, for all the people out there to see with their kids and stuff. And he can't handle freedom. He can't handle it. I'll say it. Freedom, having freedom is supposed to serve an even higher purpose, which now you're in a difficult area. Like, ask yourself, what's the purpose of freedom? What's the freedom? So freedom is important so you can figure life out for yourself. I think there's many false gods, and essentially, what the least of what it is, the least, at the very least, what God is the highest good. Is That's again Jordan Peterson, and I think it is appropriate and useful and pragmatic. That's what it is at the very least. You know, aim up as high as you can, as best as you can. And I think literally and figuratively, and it gets difficult, but I think that is what Jesus represents at the very least. And I'm not saying that Jesus symbolic metaphors, representation of something is the very least, or excuse me, summarizes and fully encapsulates the story. But it's that at the very least. And because even Jesus himself said faith without works is meaningless. So, and then again, a religious idea is that our actions affect what happens to us in the afterlife. That, you know, a lot of that has been ridiculed as a bad idea. I think it's a good idea, because a lot of the times your efforts don't necessarily seem to yield appropriate material returns. I'm not just talking financially. It's just like you do a good thing, it doesn't seem like it matters. But if you believe that ultimately your actions do matter, or you're at very least judged based off your actions, it keeps the game going, and meaning is extended into the afterlife. And that's better, I think, than thinking that when you die, there's nothing. Aim up always.